I'm Jenna Middaugh. Coming up on 11 News at noon, by the end of the day, the U.S. could have a second coronavirus vaccine approved for use. Plus, a messy morning commute. All lanes of I-25 South are still closed near Pueblo after a semi carrying cardboard boxes tipped on its side. And let's take a live look outside in Monument. We are under an 11 breaking weather alert for more snow, and you can see flakes falling here in Monument. Meteorologist Sydney Jackson is tracking the timing. Join us at noon.
This is KKTV 11 News at noon.
The FDA is reviewing Moderna's COVID-19 vaccine today, how soon it could be available to Americans. Good afternoon and thank you for joining us. I'm Jenna Middaugh. Today is a big day on the vaccine front. Vice President Mike Pence received Pfizer's coronavirus vaccine live on television this morning, and today the FDA is expected to approve a second coronavirus vaccine for emergency use, this one produced by Moderna. Elise Preston reports from New York. This is new at noon. Colorado will be getting fewer doses of Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine than expected. The state confirmed to 11 News that Colorado had been planning to get another shipment of 56,000 doses today. But earlier this week, the state said it learned Operation Warp Speed officials adjusted the amount to just under 40,000 doses. Colorado says the CDC notifies the state each week about how many doses it will be getting the following week. Operation Warp Speed says it adjusted the number of doses, so it'll be the same each week. Let's get to that 11 breaking weather alert now and bring in meteorologist Sydney Jackson. Sydney, is anyone seeing snow right now?
Yeah, Jenna, we are seeing some snow, especially up north.
We'll check in soon. Thank you, Sydney. Right now, all lanes of I-25 South near Pueblo are still closed. They've been shut down since this morning after a semi carrying boxes lost control and tipped on its side. Another semi hit that truck, plowing through the trailer. Cardboard was scattered all across the highway, and heavy machinery was actually called in to help clear it. The driver of the truck that tipped was taken to the hospital but is expected to be okay. The driver of the other truck was not hurt. Investigators are still trying to figure out what caused the first truck to lose control. Today, Governor Jared Polis and more than 600 state and community leaders sent an open letter to President Trump urging him to keep U.S. Space Command at Peterson Air Force Base in Colorado Springs. Right now, Colorado is one of 6 finalists to be the permanent home of Space Command. Part of the letter read, quote, nestled against the Rocky Mountains with over 300 days of sunshine annually and one of the healthiest and most active states in the nation, we know that Colorado is the ideal location for military members, their families, and space professionals to live, work, and train. Space Command's permanent home is expected to be announced next month. Later today, the stepmom accused of killing 11-year-old Jenna Stouk is expected to be in court for a status conference, which is basically like an update on where the case stands. Latisha Stouk is facing murder charges. She reported her stepson Gannon as a runaway at the end of January. His body was later found in Florida, and Stouk was arrested in March. She's waiting for her second mental health evaluation. Her defense team has asked for it to be pushed back because of the coronavirus outbreak at the El Paso County Jail. She's being held there without bond right now. Her court appearance is scheduled for 1:30 this afternoon. We will let you know what happens during that. Right now, Pueblo School District 60 is handing out bags of food for students so they have enough to eat over winter break. The school district normally gives out 4 days worth of breakfasts and lunches, but today students will be getting enough food for an additional 10 days. The food distribution started at 11 this morning, but is scheduled to run until 1 p.m. or until the food runs out. Students do not need to be present to pick up the meals. Family can get the food at the schools you see there on your screen. And Harrison School District 2 is also handing out food today with some help from Care and Share Food Bank. This distribution also started at 11 a.m. and will continue until the food runs out. Just head on over to Centennial Elementary. The address is right there on your screen. Well, here at KKTV, we get a lot of calls from people reporting scams. Coming up on 11 News at noon, it's Fraud Friday. We are teaming up with the experts at AARP Elder Watch and the Colorado Attorney General's office to stay ahead of the crooks. We have a live interview to talk about the #1 scheme you need to know about this week. All right, let's get to Fraud Friday. We are teaming up with AARP Elder Watch and the Colorado Attorney General's office to let you know about the biggest scams making the rounds. Every Friday, we check in with the experts to give you the latest information to keep yourself safe from scammers. I'm joined now with Colorado Attorney General Phil Weiser. Thank you so much for joining us.
It's great to be with you, Jenna.
So let's get right to it. What's one of the biggest scams you've been hearing about recently?
The top scam that we hear about are people pretending to be from the government. These are government imposter scams, those calls you get from the Social Security Administration.
And what can your office do about these scams?
There are a few things we're doing. We're first working to crack down on robocalls.
And how can people report scams to you in your office?
We have a website.
And if someone does lose money to a scammer, are you able to get the money back, or how often does that happen?
It depends, Jenna. Unfortunately, a lot of these scammers might even be abroad. Occasionally, we can track someone down if they're local and there's actually some in-person presence. But a lot of times, that's not an option.
And that's why it's so important to know what to look out for. So thank you so much for sharing that insight with us. We always enjoy having you on the show, Attorney General.
It's great to be with you, Jenna. Happy holidays, everybody.
Yeah, you as well. Now let's check in with Sydney.
All right, we are feeling chilly across southern Colorado right now.
Looking forward to it. Thank you, Sydney. This is developing now. Brazil's Supreme Court has ruled that a nationwide vaccine is constitutional. According to the court, the government can penalize people that refuse to be vaccinated, but no one can be forced to get a vaccine. Brazil reported more than 69,000 new COVID-19 cases yesterday. The nation has recorded more than 7.1 million infections since the pandemic started. It ranks second in the world for most deaths, only behind the U.S. Happening now, Walgreens has started vaccinating people in long-term care facilities. The retail pharmacy began giving Pfizer's COVID-19 vaccine to residents and staff at facilities in Ohio and Connecticut today. According to the company, Walgreens team members will administer the vaccine in approximately 800 long-term care facilities across 12 states starting next week. And Walgreens will continue to expand vaccinations to 35,000 long-term care facilities that selected the pharmacy as their vaccine provider. Another update in the race to fight the coronavirus. Johnson & Johnson says its initial late-stage trial for its vaccine candidate is fully enrolled with 45,000 participants. The company predicts it will have data on its effectiveness by late January and is aiming to submit its application for emergency use by February. Stimulus talks continue on Capitol Hill today as lawmakers negotiate a nearly $1 trillion bill. Coming up on 11 News at noon, how soon it could pass and what that means for you. Congress needs to pass a spending bill today to keep the government open. It's looking more and more likely lawmakers will pass a stopgap measure to give them more time as they negotiate a nearly $1 trillion package to help people and businesses impacted by the coronavirus pandemic. Michael George has more details from Wilmington, Delaware.
Congress appears to be headed toward a weekend session.
Developing now, U.S. officials say a massive cyber attack discovered a week ago and blamed on Russia was far more wide-reaching than previously thought. Reports say the security breach hit at least 7 government agencies. The hackers made their move at least as early as March and remained undetected until last week.
It's going to take a while for our forensic cyber sleuths.
Sources tell CBS News President Trump has been briefed on the attack, but so far he has made no public comments about it. The Russian government has denied involvement. We have an update. Nigerians are rejoicing after hundreds of kidnapped schoolboys were released. Authorities say security forces rescued the boys yesterday, but it's not clear whether all of them had been freed. Last week, we told you gunmen on motorbikes raided the boys' boarding school and marched hundreds of them into the forest. The rescued boys looked weary, which is understandable, but were otherwise okay. We'll be right back. In just a few minutes, Governor Jared Polis is expected to give us another update on the state's response to the COVID-19 pandemic. He's scheduled to start talking around 12:30 today. He'll also be discussing mental health practices for this holiday season with medical and behavioral health experts. You can watch live on our 11 News Facebook page, and we'll have an update on what he talked about coming up later on 11 News at 4. Looking ahead, the Salvation Army will only be out at stores ringing bells for a few more days, but the organization says it's still $23,000 behind its goal. All the money that's collected in the Red Kettles and online during the holiday season stays right here in Colorado Springs to help families in need. You can donate online, and we have a link on our website. Just go to KKTV.com and click that red Find It tab. And if you still have some holiday shopping to do, you're not alone. According to research from payment platform Klarna, 79% of shoppers still have to buy gifts. More than 1/3 say they'll save their final purchases for Christmas week, and more than half will still buy online, knowing the gifts will not arrive on time. Let's check in with Sydney one more time for that 11 breaking weather alert.
All right, snow showers will carry on through this evening. Christmas Eve right now is looking dry and cool.
We like that. Thank you, Sydney, and thank you for watching. Have a good weekend.